What's going on, everybody? My name is Dave. Welcome to another exciting episode of Crypto Awesome, where crypto is simplified and awesomeness is amplified. And today we have a very special treat for you. We are here with Smooth and Crypto, talk about Flare, which is coming up. And bro, I've just heard a little bit about Flare from some of your other interviews, and I'm really excited about what you're doing. You're taking some of the innovations that that TitanX in general has, and you're bringing things together and you're adding some special pieces on top of that. And I really love, what you're doing. It's going to be something that's going to keep people, in my opinion, keep people really engaged. Um, so yeah, so let's just start. So how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. This has been a long time coming. I jumped on TEDx's lounge with you the other week. I thought that
Yeah.
was really fun and, impromptu. We kind of I was just in the chat and he had me up. So, been a little bit since we talked on stream, but nonetheless, happy to be here. Happy to talk about Flare. And I think we always have a good conversation.
Heck yeah, man. So all right, well, let's just jump into a little bit then. So Flare, let's talk about what are the kind of bullet points of not only what makes it different, but what's unique about Flare.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing, in my opinion, is the auto minting of X28 with Flare. I think that's a really big innovation that's going to come. And, maybe people beat us to that in the market, being vocal about it right now. Obviously, it's been a really cool innovation, I think, that we added to Flare last minute. So basically, when it comes down to it, 76% of everything that comes into Flare will auto mint X28, meaning 38% of all the TitanX that comes in is going to be burnt forever. So it's almost to the level of X28 being 50% of everything in. Ours is 38. I think that's really huge for the TitanX ecosystem, and having the main LP with X28 as well kind of gives us that 1-to-1 ratio to TitanX. But overall, a lot of things are being built on X28 currently, and a lot of people are going to have it as inputs. So I could see the auto minting of X28 being a very big part of Flare and its uniqueness. Also, a lot of projects in TitanX have daily auctions and daily auction mechanics and stuff like that. And the way they do it is release the coins through a daily auction. And I think it's fine, right? I think people definitely get some good ROIs some days they break even, other days they lose a little bit, but either way, they're getting their coins, right? So one thing I want to improve upon is take the Inferno / AwesomeX style of minting and having the ability to know that ratio immediately when you're minting, I think is so important. And and you can calculate, okay, this is how many tokens I'm going to get for sure. So I think having the mints, it'll inflate, and then throughout the week with daily auctions, it's going to deflate, and then it'll go up and down with circulating supply. So technically, right, one thing I was thinking about the other day is, since I have the daily auctions and I have mints every week for that 11-week mint period, it's almost like my token is capped every 7 days. Like I have a capped token and then more tokens release and then it's capped again. So I'm just really interested to see kind of how that does compared to what we have now.
Yeah, man, that's very cool. So after week 11, is the perpetual auction going to keep going?
Yep. Forever and always. So
Yeah, right.
there is a portion of the buys and sells that are going to burn the token forever and also add to the daily auction pool as well. So no
You
matter
have
what happens,
buy and burn as well. So you're not just counting only on the transforming into X28 as the burn. That's one burn, but then there's another buy and burn as well.
yeah. So Flare will have its own buy and burn, as well as basically through minting of X28, we're burning TitanX as well through the processes. It's almost like we just so happen to burn 38% of TitanX, really. So I think having a burn of X or TitanX is, I think a lot of our goal is to burn as much TitanX as we can, but then also create deflationary protocols and projects and coins. So Flare definitely has a heavy buy and burn. It has almost the same type of buy and burn as Inferno did. So it's going to be really heavy. It's going to be burning a crap load, all while the daily auction pool is going to consistently be fed every single day.
What's your input?
TitanX and Ethereum.
TitanX and Ethereum. Okay, gotcha. So TitanX and Ethereum are the inputs. So if people wanted to input X28, they can't because they need to put in TitanX so it can transform it to X28.
Yep.
Cool.
So we wanted to, a lot of people I think are going to be having X28 as an input, and I think that's amazing. Obviously, seeing it with Shogun, it worked out amazing, right? It's great. I think having the pressure of TitanX and being able to use your TitanX or Ethereum to come in will just create even more scarcity. And my goal is to burn as much TitanX as possible and create a very deflationary and highly bought, project in Flare. So it's going to be programmed a ton of buying and a ton of burning on Flare while also burning a ton of TitanX.
Well, I like the capped supply auctions during the middle of the week, technically cap supply because the supply comes out, then the auctions happen based upon whatever supply was out at that point. But it's cap supply, but you're still getting inputs during the cap supply phase of the week. If people participate in the auctions, they're still putting inputs in to participate in the auctions. So it's not just relying on the weekend. It is, engaging everybody daily, which I think is one of your greatest innovations here, is taking kind of the Inferno's Awesome X style weekly mint, but then during the week, giving people something to do.
Yep.
Additionally, that will hopefully pump Flare as well while those auctions are happening, because they're happening on a cap supply and you're still getting inputs. Well, it's a weekly cap supply because every week people can mint more in order to participate or buy off market. So, but really, I do think that there's multiple reasons to mint through a protocol versus buying off market. There are reasons and logical reasons to buy off market at times, but when a protocol first comes out, it's, in my opinion, way better to mint through the protocol, because now you're actually able to go through all the design mechanisms that the protocol created, burning everything that needs to be burnt. The allocations go where the allocations are to benefit the ecosystem. So really cool. Okay. Yeah. And then you're doing something else too. So like the reward pools, they're not staking. It's not staking. Like you're going to you're doing something where you're pre-funding the reward pools or something like that. Can you talk?
So it's not a reward pool, it's the auction balance. So instead of having, what I've noticed through these daily auction protocols as Volt, Shogun, Turbo, all these things, they rely on slowly building their auction pool or balance or whatever you want to call it. So Turbo came out and put and already started coins into there. So we're doing somewhat of the same thing. So we're going to have a trillion token start out into the auction pool to start out. So day one will be minting and day two will be the first day of auction. So with a trillion being in there, there's going to be 110 billion tokens available the first day. And then throughout that whole first day of the daily auction, the amount that was used to mint is going to consistently buy and keep storing more and more Flare in that pool. So we wanted it to be as fair as possible, and this promotes a lot of longevity with the auction pool instead of it drying up too quickly. I think this will allow Flare to constantly add more and more, but level out at some point, because I want there to be stuff in the auction pool no matter what. And, even if it gets low, if price goes up, then it's technically a lot in there. So it's like, it'll work itself out eventually. But yeah, so it's going to be in the auction pool balance.
So cool, man. Okay. So you're going to add that trillion that you're seeding in there is going to be used that first week. as the auction rewards.
Yep. So
Now,
it's going to be, that's going to be
whatever gets minted on day one, though. Will that also be given in that first week?
Yep. Yep. So this is basically how it'll go. Day one, and to your point earlier, minting, in my opinion, will always be better than buying off market, especially since we have a buy and sell tax. But my best plays have been minting day one on multiple projects. So it's like minting is great. So we have the balance at $1 trillion to start out. So day one will be minting. Day two will be the first day of auctions. And so what will happen, say, arbitrary number, right? $1 million comes into Flare on the first day of minting. So 32% of everything is going to be bought that next day and added to the auction pool. So 320 grand worth will be bought over that whole entire 24 hours after that day and constantly be adding and adding. So that first auction happens, same thing, 32% the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. So it's going to be constantly filling, but there'll be a snapshot, right before that next day of how much are available for that auction balance.
Wow. Yeah, man. I can't wait to see how this plays out. I'm like super stoked to get in on Flare.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pumped too I want to get in as well.
So what's your timeline here?
I'm hoping late December. I've been saying mid to late December, but I think kind of mid-December is out of the question. But yeah, so late December, worst case scenario, early January. I'd love for it to be out in 2024. I think that would be awesome. Yeah. But
it would be, because I don't think there's many other things coming out December, because I was the same way. We're building right now a couple of protocols, and I was like, man, we were trying to get them out in December, but it's turning out like I kept making a few changes and adjustments anyway, because as I was kind of like digging into these white papers and sleeping on it and waking up, it's like, oh, but that needs to change. Oh, that needs to change a little bit. So as I was doing that, I kind of delayed the launch of these. But I was hoping for December, but realistically, both Draco and Drogon are probably coming out in January.
Yeah.
Which I know there's actually quite a few other protocols coming out in January, but it's actually great. No, it would be nice to get something out in December for sure. But January is really the kickoff of the bull market in my, my little charting brain, whatever I'm looking at. So it's like the January kickoff to the bull run. It's going to be nice to kind of launch some things in when things are pushing into the actual bull run and all those people are coming. Because I mean, we're pre-bull right now. We're right there, but we're it's funny because like I was in XRP like before I got into TitanX, and it was just sitting there for so long I couldn't do anything with it, right? So I sell all my XRP, I get into TitanX, and then I sell the rest of it to build Awesome X, and then it has that like 6x like
right
went up 6x, which that was cool. But the thing is, by making those decisions early in January, I'm still right around the same place I would have been if I would have just stayed in XRP, but I've done way more things. Like I've learned a lot. I've participated. I've met everybody here in the community. And so, I'm learning my lesson though, because what I typically do, I'm an extreme guy. So I kind of get all the way out of things to get into other things sometimes. It's like I did with Baby Dragon X. I got out of it to get into Helios back in the day. It's like bad move. But you
got to leave a moon bag.
You got to leave those bags, and so I'm learning as I kind of keep going through, I'm getting my strategies and learning how to play these games. But I'm not upset at all, because I think what we're doing right now, I mean, XRP has a great potential, I think, but TitanX has like a massive, maybe XRP has a massive potential too. I don't need to compare the two. They're very different, obviously. But TitanX in general, especially with X28 coming out, and especially with all these builders and the amount of innovations that is happening in this ecosystem, and the fact that we're actually getting some really strong, like our community members are strong, and all of us, we're community members before we were builders.
Yep.
I mean, we all joined TitanX because we believe in the white paper. And when you read the white paper, it's like, wow, I want to be part of that. Like, I don't know where else I would build. I don't know where else. I couldn't think of
We
any.
haven't built for a reason, I think, Dave.
Yeah.
I think we haven't built before this for a specific reason. And, you know, like Jake says, it's cozy over here. It's comfortable. You know that it's going to be here. You know, everything is going to be here. So whether it performs great right now, next year, the year after, whatever it is, this is all very, very long term, and kind of the ethos and the building blocks that we have at this point, barely a year old, is quite ridiculous in my opinion. So it's like I would rather take a chance over something like this and something new and fresh and something that hasn't been tried and true than just kind of having a token and just holding and hoping. And, you know, I'd rather be actively building and part of something, in my opinion. But
1,000,000%. I totally agree. Yeah. I mean, you know, we have opportunities here not only to build, which is freaking sweet. Like I've wanted to build in DeFi for so many years, but I never really, you know, had my spot or knew like what chain I was going to build on. Like I was like, what chain now? It's like I never really wanted to just build on Ethereum just to build on Ethereum, you know, but this is different than that. Yep. And our community is really strong. And some of the voices, some of our community members are like whales, like big time crypto whales in general. I mean, when you can see some of our community members who are like LPing the crap out of things, like they're LP geniuses and then they're just speculators and stuff like that. This is a safer place to speculate than basically anywhere else in crypto, in my opinion, because of the fair launch, because of the transparency, because of the built-in hyper-deflation, because of all of this, and the caliber of builders that are coming to TitanX is just blowing me away. And everybody's actually giving, like, builders are giving their part of their protocols to other protocols. It's like we're supporting other ecosystems. You know, this isn't really happen in crypto either. It's like when other builders are building on other chains and there's 100 builders over on other chains, they're really not saying, hey, I'm going to support this other protocol with my protocol, or I'm going to do this and that. It's really, they're telling people to sell down all the other tokens to get into theirs. You know, it's like, it's really more of a cannibalistic society or a process versus what we're doing, which is a synergistic competition. Now, what do you think about protocol fatigue?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall it's a thing. I'll definitely give it some validation. It could be a thing and it might be a thing. But in my opinion, it's good competition in all honesty. And it really is the same thing as every single project ever built on Ethereum when it really comes down to it. And it's like, look, not every single project's going to do good. Yeah, okay, maybe the early projects in TitanX did great. Maybe the mid projects did great. Maybe this wave might not do as good as the next wave, you know, but overall, I think there will be some fatigue. There has to be some fatigue. People are in too much profits, and we've seen that through this past month. Really, tons of people are in really big profits on TitanX and all these other protocols, and people are going to take their money and run. Sometimes people are going to take profits, and overall, the systems are churning forever. So it's like, you know, it might not be, a project might be viewed as fatigue and this and that now, but maybe next year, maybe the year after that, or the year after that, like we see a crazy run in them, right? I'm just kind of thinking long term, all of this stuff kind of gets worked out. And, you know, maybe we have a specific amount of projects and people don't really build more, or we just keep building. But it'll get to the point where
building. I know we are.
Exactly.
We're not going to stop here. But you know, the reason I ask about fatigue, I think right now one of the things about, because I try to participate in everything I do, but I can't now. Like I have to be selective over the projects that I want to participate in on day one. But but see, that's because we're growing slowly. We're growing slowly and strong. We're building a really strong base to explode from. And so the fatigue might be happening a little bit right now, protocol fatigue, because our community is growing, but it's growing slowly. Once our community starts growing, there's 19,000 wallets now for TitanX. I mean, which means we are growing, because a month or so ago it was 16,000. And so it's like, we absolutely are growing. We're growing slow and steady pre-bull run. And our 19,000 wallets turn into 190,000 wallets. There's not going to be any room for protocol fatigue, because these people are going to, and with PowerX coming, which is interesting what Eric's doing with PowerX. It's really, he really needs to, we need to, some of these protocols that have super high ROIs and they're designed for high ROIs are really what his bread and butter is going to be for PowerX, because now PowerX, people can get a chunk of the miner. Like, it's like these people are getting these influencers or whoever wants a code. When people sign up with their code, not only do they get paid, I think, a little upfront or whatever, but they actually get to claim part of the miner at the end, which is like really interesting, actually. So I don't know what that's going to do, but it feels to me like that could really, really jumpstart getting other communities to come in to TitanX.
Absolutely. And, a big goal of that is to bring fresh ETH in. And I really do think it's going to bring a lot of ETH in, especially being a ROI driven protocol and not necessarily a TitanX, build on TitanX kind of view of it. It's more of, hey, this is just an Ethereum protocol, and this is just what we use for the protocol, instead of it being, it's focused on new investors, new ETH, new eyes. Like, that's what it's focused on. And, I think, one, if it's successful, obviously we all succeed project wise, but two, if it's successful, we're going to have more and more projects release with that view in mind. And their only goal is to bring new people in, not necessarily, build on TitanX, if that makes sense.
I think it's going to be really successful with the amount of, chutzpah Eric has, whatever, his charisma and his, what he's done, his connections, how he's really integrating in the community. I think is just really going to make PowerX really work. But it has to be coupled with heavy ROI protocols. It's actually got to be coupled with protocols that show high ROIs in order to bring people in. And it is going to be ETH. It's going to be bringing in ETH to the ecosystem. And that's what I like about taking multiple input tokens, is because you're right. People don't need to know about TitanX in order to participate in what we're doing. They just need to, it's built on ETH. And there's the beautifulness underneath it all of the TitanX. If people get under the hood, then it's like, oh, wait, that's what I just got into? I like that, versus crap. And, that's the other thing. I was watching Eric's stream about, that Hooktaw girl, whatever, launched a coin. She had, it's bad guidance. It's like, who's she going to and saying, I want to do or probably someone approached her. I don't know.
Someone approached her. I almost guarantee it.
Someone approached her and said, I know the code. I'm going to be able to own the LP of this. I'm going to be able to give her a little bit, and then she can promote it. And then, obviously just a rug game, potentially. Who knows? Or she could have done it differently. Once we get our name out there, once we kind of start getting out into the real community, it's like, influencers, hey guys, if you want to launch a token, I'll launch it with the ethos. Launch it with the ethos, and you're actually not going to have to worry about all these FUD videos coming out about how you just stole 10 million, $50 million or something like that.
Right.
It's like, launch it with the ethos, be transparent, get good devs, get your audits, like do all the stuff that you're supposed to do. And then these big influencers won't be ripping off their followers.
Yeah.
Whether or not she meant to or not, you know, it is what it is.
Who knows?
Ultimately, the front end of her chart looks like, and I say her chart just because, you know, whatever, but it's like the front end of that chart just looks like a meme coin. It just looks like the start of a meme coin. It's like everybody's saying that they rugged, which maybe they did, but also it's the beginning of a meme coin. Is that the only life it has? Well, if she stops marketing, yeah, that's it. That's all it's got. But
and you know, and you know, God forbid someone just celebrity wise just releases the coin and then just like allows it to just do what it does. Like, how crazy of a thought is that? Like, I think what we're doing over here is like an absolute no-brainer, and people are just like so psyoped into thinking the only way to make, you know, money or a part of crypto is just like get in before everybody rugs it. You know, I think that's nuts. And you know, a lot of my buddies, they got some other buddies that do like all Solana this, Solana that, and base this. And it's like, look, I don't have any issue with any of that. I just don't have time, and I do not want to get rugged at anything.
Me too. I exactly. I don't want to be rugged. I'd like, and unless you,
because if you have a long-term perspective of what this project can do, not getting rugged is the biggest part of making that actually having the ability to go long-term with the project. And we have a very, very good ethos around here that, hey, no one's rugging. We want this project to fucking kill it. That's what we want. We don't want to make money like a big pump and dump. Like, I want this to be a long-term project. And I know AwesomeX is designed the same way, right? So we do have very long-term, forever type of mindsets with these projects. And it just like breaks my heart just to see just millions of dollars just getting scammed every single day, if not billions. I don't even know.
Like, I mean, we've got 26 BOT protocols, 25 launched on top of TitanX, and 0 rugs.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's unheard of right there.
Yep. Yeah, even our meme coins like Jake X and stuff, like those have been solid since the jump. There's been a couple leeches in the ecosystem for sure, but that was just people that never even were supposed to get like any money. But you know, you can't save everybody. They think they're getting in early. In reality, they're just kind of getting their funds sucked away. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But I think with Flare, one thing I really wanted to market it, obviously you could use Ethereum or TitanX, but the long-term aspect of it is I really wanted to market you just use Ethereum. Like, I don't even necessarily want you to use TitanX as much as I want you to use Ethereum, so that you can come in and be a part of this TitanX burning without you even knowing, right? You don't even have to know that.
Not only that, when you're bringing ETH in, now you're buying TitanX first, and then you're transforming X28. So there's buy pressure on top of the TitanX, and then you're also burning 30-something% of it just by transforming it. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty epic. I mean, I can't wait to play it. Well, see, and I like what you did too, because it's like, yeah, day one is not an auction. Day one, you're going to know how much you're going to get.
Yep.
And with however much you mint. Now, does it start at a 1-to-1?
1-to-1.
1-to-1. So yeah, so you start at a 1-to-1, and then day one, you know how much you're going to get. You claim it 24 hours later.
Yep. Same thing as Inferno. Right when that 24 hours is up, you know, you could scoop it whenever you want, and it'll always be there for you as well.
Does day two auction start like immediately when you claim?
Yep. So on that whole day two claim day, that first auction starts right then and there.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. You know, I am learning how to build a strategy for auctions. I never really had one before, and I've played them wrong to this point. Yep. You know, I'm learning a little bit, you know, doing turbo right now, and kind of just the auction process is definitely a little different. I like that you're doing a mix. You're doing like a hybrid mint / auction, and it's so innovative. It's something that I really think it's going to do very, very well. And I mean, I want to be part of it for sure. And then so you're going to have a burn. You're going to do a buy and burn. What else is special about Flare?
So one thing, we have an 8% send to Inferno buy and burn, right? So our main LP is going to be X28, and slowly throughout this minting weeks and forever and always of the project, we're going to be adding more and more LPs to it. So are arguably going to have the second biggest LP with Inferno. That's going to be our second big one. But overall, we're going to try to get definitely all of the full, like very highly deflationary projects. And then after that, go for more of the inflationary projects. You know, obviously a lot of these projects are like long-term. They all will be deflationary and capped at a certain point, but start off with just setting and creating more and more LPs. And, you know, just what we're seeing with Shogun, right? Like my main goal is we have a buy and sell tax on everything that's bought and sold. So the arbitrage bots that are going to be coming in and doing their thing, this is going to be forever growing liquidity. So anything these LPs make are forever reinvested back into the LP.
So your buy sell taxes. So this is why you want to create all these pools, kind of like do a liquidity web as well.
Yep.
So the buy sell tax is going to add to the pool
and burn forever. Yep. So a portion of it's going to be burnt and a portion of it's going to be added to the pool immediately. So it's going to be nice that a flare is going to be bought or sold, and a portion of that is just immediately sent to the pool. There doesn't need to be a public function for it. This is going to be constant forever and always.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. So how much is the buy sale tax?
So it's 8% through the 11 weeks, and then it'll drop down to 2.8% after the 11 weeks.
Oh, nice. Cool, man. That's very cool. And all right. And then so obviously you're V2.
Yep.
So you can have multiple taxes, and you can adjust the taxes, and you can have multiple LPs that provide the web. So okay. And the bot's job at that point is just to fill up the LPs to make them thicker.
Yeah, I mean, if there's arbitrage to be made, which there always will be through these pairs, the job of those guys is just continuously buy and sell and go through this and that one, and just create a lot of thick liquidity, because the more these things trade, the thicker they get and the bigger they get forever and always. So I really like that. And obviously people can come in and buy a whole side of LP pair. It's not like that's not possible. It always will be, no matter what pair you have in general in crypto. So it's like a big wallet can come in and scoop up half of the flare, whatever the case may be. So our goal is to just continuously add more pairs, keep growing pairs, create the thick liquidity between everything, just how E280 does Shogun. It's just such a great model, and everything is going to just be continuously revolving door. And hopefully through big mints, there will be big sells, big buys on the open market, and more is going to be sent to the auction pool, because you have the buy and burn, which is constant, right? So same thing, Sunday through Wednesday, 5% or 4%. Let me just pull it up real quick. Yeah, so
I'm gonna add that. You can check it out.
I've been reading so many white papers recently. All right, cool.
I'm gonna share it. Can you hear me? Check. I think there it goes. I might have a delay here, guys. Sorry.
All right, there we go. Yeah, this area. Okay, so Sunday through Wednesday is going to be 4%. Thursday's 10%. Friday and Saturday is going to be 15%. So this is exactly how Inferno did, and this is a very, very, very aggressive buy and burn, in my opinion. So the goal of this is to while it's minting, while the daily auctions are consistently going, we're going to be as aggressive as possible. And overall, right, like this is going to be tried and true forever of the project, right? So it's going to be aggressive and it might run out, this and that. But overall, no matter what happens, this is immediate burn, and then you have delayed burning with the daily auction pool, because eventually people are going to sell what they get out of the auctions, right? So it's just more of an opportunity to buy and add more into that daily auction pool. So you have delayed burning of the tokens, and delayed release of them. So it's like they're going to be off the market, but they're going to come back at some point. You know what I mean? So it's like this give and take of minting a crap load and people selling, and it just immediately scoops up the whole next day. So it's like you have a programmed buy everywhere, all over the place. It is pressure, as much pressure as I could design into this thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking mechanics of like a lot of the powerhouses. I mean, you're bringing in some Inferno meets Volt meets E280 mechanics. I mean, you're kind of mashing up some powerhouses here of mechanics and making them into its own thing. I didn't even know you had the buy sell tax and you were going to do the LPs too, because that even brings it to another level of longevity and coolness in a lot of senses. So, very cool.
Yeah. I just love the I call it a pulse. I want to figure out a different name, trampoline, if you will, or something. I have no idea, but it's just like the supply will go up Friday and through the week go down and go up again and down and up. I want it to be almost unpredictable with how much is going to be minted every week, but have a for sure set amount that is going to be available for the daily auction. So I think overall this is going to be super, super, super healthy during the 11 weeks. And then overall throughout the rest of eternity, it's going to be a little bit of buy sell tax and then forever and always daily auctions. And, a big thing is people are like, oh, there's not going to be a lot in there, this and that, like long term with these daily auctions. But overall, this is just another added pressure to the token, right? We could design it and do nothing, or we can just have the option for people to interact with it no matter what every day. And that's what I wanted. So it's like, if it gets low, so be it. Some people that are doing the auctions are going to make all the money out of there and other people aren't, so it's like, I just wanted to create something that obviously was a culmination of everything we did, but also I think people are sleeping on the Inferno mint style, AwesomeX mint style now than they were back then. Because, we saw Alien X do it, right? We're going to have some people doing it, right? Goat X as well. And I think this style is just a little bit different, but heavy enough to really do some damage to the circulated supply by the end of the 11 weeks and forever and always.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, dude, right on. It was basically with AwesomeX, like it's the in the middle of the week, it was just not, there wasn't enough for people to do. It was like the minting on Fridays and Saturdays. The other things that for people to do were other protocols. And that's where, I'm really now, AwesomeX is still over a 2-to-1 ratio right now with TitanX, because I did a 2.8% decrease per week and started at 2.8 to 1. So those kind of that ratio kind of it's different. I wanted to really reward people early on, but the cool thing is after week 12, which is coming up, in a few more weeks, it's under 2 to 1. And then after week 37, it's literally less than 1 to 1. So it really will get there. It really eventually will benefit early adopters because they got such a heavy ratio up front. But it goes slower. That's why I like the fact that you're bringing in the fuel midweek. The fuel midweek is basically you can auction. You could still participate every day if you wanted to. I really like that. And that's what's going to happen with the two protocols that are coming up on AwesomeX is Drogon and Draco. And both of those protocols are going to use AwesomeX to mint, but there's multiple input tokens. So, if AwesomeX is deposited, it will go through the process immediately. If the other input tokens are inputted, they will go through a little bit different pathways to get to the X28 AwesomeX pair, which is basically what that's going to be. But even if people aren't minting with AwesomeX, now if they're minting with AwesomeX, that's great. But if they're not minting with AwesomeX, what it's going to do is it's going to buy that AwesomeX off the market and mint with it, which means the AwesomeX app will be getting a higher ROI because people are going to be unknowingly minting with AwesomeX. They're just going to be using ETH or X28 or TitanX or DragonX. And as it comes in, if it buys off market, it increases that weekly ROI. And then people will hopefully want to get into AwesomeX to get the better deal than buying off market. Because if that ROI goes up, people can mint during the week. If the ROI is low, people are just going to buy off market. So basically, in order for me to accomplish what you're doing, the daily games available, I have to launch more protocols because I didn't build these games into AwesomeX. I knew they were coming, but I didn't build them into the protocol. Right now, it's really an input token. It's just an input token that people can get. But I needed a way to make that input token actually like usable. And on the chain of bonded LPs, there's a lot to learn about the intricacies of liquidity pools and when you're in a bonded chain, where you are in the chain and all that. So it's very, very fun to see, though, what everybody's doing. It's really fun to see you jumping in, dude, and making flare. And before you know it, it's gonna be launched. And I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm just really excited. I mean, it's going to be a big first day, I think, just streaming it, launching this and that. And, it's going to be hard not to talk about it. And the problem is it's like day one's auction or day two mint, day one mint, day two auction. And then it's like day three auction, day four auction. You know what I mean? So the one thing I will say to add to this is during mint days, there will be no auction. So it's going to be minting, auction throughout the week. That Friday comes, you can mint again, and then know that there's another auction coming that next day. So we wanted it to be, like mint, auction. So yeah, I was originally going to do a mint and a daily auction on the same day. And I thought that would have been crazy, but then it's like, simplify it. I want it to be minted, just how AwesomeX is. I want there to be a ton of flare out there. I think that having a bigger supply means you have more movability later on, in my opinion, because obviously if things go well with flare, whatever the case is, I'm more than likely, regardless of what happens, going to build something else for flare and consistently do this, right? And so it's like, I want there to be more inflation. I want there to be more minting, right? I mean, we already have, if 0 people mints throughout the whole life of the project, we're going to have 1 trillion tokens, period. So it's like, there's already going to be 1 trillion of tokens in that daily auction pool to start. So it's like, however many after that, who knows? I have no idea. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how the relationship between how much flare is out there, how much minting happened, and how much it's really getting burnt, because I mean, it's a really heavy burn, and that first day is going to have a 15% of all the buy and burn is going to be bought and burned forever. So it's like that's day one auction, day two auction, I guess you could say it, is going to have a ton of buy pressure through the burn, let alone everything that's going to buy and consistently be adding into the auction pool. So yeah, I love how aggressive but slow it is at the exact same time.
Yeah, good point. That's awesome. Yeah, right on, man. That is so cool.
Yeah. So I think overall, having, I wanted it to do a different day. In all honesty, I wanted it to not do Friday. But I think that's payday. I think that's just the end of the week. People are feeling good. People want to get bags before the weekend, this and that. So,
It's a good day. Plus,
yeah, I want.
these start going down a little bit on Fridays.
Yep.
Weekend.
Yes. Yeah. So I was gonna do a Saturday mint day or a different, like a Tuesday mint day, but I just thought, minting on Friday, claiming on Saturday, I think that just feels good. I think people are used to it. And, while others are not in ROI right now, right, AwesomeX included, I think that's fine for us to slide in there and potentially be an ROI. So I just want to create more scarcity, I guess you could say, with TitanX, but also having that mint day on Friday, I think is a good vibe. All in all,
I don't mind being somewhat capped until we're technically kind of capped until another protocol comes out. I mean, not technically, but essentially. But we have already burned almost 56% of the entire supply of AwesomeX.
Yeah, it's wild to think about. And to start off with a 2.8 to 1 ratio and to burn that much. I mean, like you said, being virtually capped right now, but with the opportunity later on to possibly be in ROI is pretty wild. So I've been watching AwesomeX. I was a day one minter. Like I said, day one minting is where it's at. It always is the best play every time. And so I got a bag of AwesomeX. I'm holding on to it. I see the vision, and I think what you're doing is pretty interesting as well with the I don't know exactly what you call it, but the investment pool, I think that's what you call it or something like that. And so I'm pumped to see
Treasury and the launch pad. Yeah.
Yep. The launch pad. Yeah.
I'm so glad that I built those in there. That's very, very cool. We're working on the first launchpad project right now. And it's, and then there's two protocols currently in the works that are going to get launched right after each other, that are part of the treasury. So the treasury is helping me build two of the initial projects. Well, not all of it. I mean, it didn't fund all of it. I'm still got to come out of pocket quite a bit to get both of these projects done and launched. But the launchpad project should be able to be completely funded through that, which is really great. And then the AwesomeX universe is really going to focus on filling up the treasury. So all the new protocols that are built on AwesomeX are focused on filling up the treasury, because the treasury will keep us building forever. And then there's so many ideas. Like I don't lack ideas, and I don't think any of us do. The right ideas clarify themselves over time. It's like when you take water and you boil it, all of the steam comes off, and whatever's in the water gets thicker and thicker. And so as we kind of boil all this stuff off top of it, it just gets back down to the essence of what it's supposed to be, each protocol in particular. And so I was actually on some of the AwesomeX universe protocols, I was kind of splitting up some of them up because I wanted multiple protocols to do different things. But then I'm like, all these good ideas, I'm like, I need to they're all synergistic with each other. It's literally one protocol. I took 3 protocols that I was going to separate, and now it's all one. It's in Drogon, which is better because it's a more comprehensive project. It has so many cool elements to it, which I'm hopefully going to be able to innovate a little bit in the hybrid NFT side, because what we're doing multi-collateral growing hybrids instead of staking in Drogon. Now, Draco is going to have mining and staking, but Drogon is going to have mining, but it's going to be a cap supply. It's going to be a cap supply mining. Now, it's going to only mine for a certain period of days, but then after that, it is going to kick into the perpetual auctions. But underneath all of that, it's going to do the mining and staking loop on Draco. And if you want to stake in Drogon, you can't stake, but what you can do is you can buy a collateralized hybrid. And when you buy the collateralized hybrid, it fills up from all the processes in the protocol. It continually fills up these hybrids with multiple tokens, not just a single one. So you collateralize it with Drogon, and then it will fill up with additional AwesomeX and additional Draco over time as the protocol works. So it really eliminates staking. If people want to get their rewards, they burn their NFT. And then after 125 days, the NFTs are capped too. So there's no more NFTs ever. So it would just be burning.
I really like that. And I like that you're taking multiple inputs, but also backing it by multiple inputs. I think that's really huge. And, you know, no shade at any other project that has these hybrid NFTs backing by one single asset. This just creates more of a possibility of keeping that floor price up, or the potential of going parabolic with that. You know, it's really cool I like that a lot.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's a fun way to reimagine staking. And people can get out. They could unstake that at any time, which means they burn their NFT. They could, I mean, it's not like they're staking for a period of days. They're staking. They're not staking. They're just buying a NFT, a hybridized, collateralized NFT. So it's pretty cool. And it's all coming together. I mean, it seems to be working really well. And then it's a 28-day. So Draco, it's not a cap supply, but it's very hyper deflationary over time. It's a mining and staking. Drogon is capped after 28 days, but it's a mining protocol, and you could actually do max length miners for the first 28 days. You could do 88-day miners. So there'll be max length miners for 28 days. Day 28 is the last day you could do a miner, and you'll be able to do max miners up to day 28. But after day 28, no more miners are allowed. And the miners will still be claiming for, you know, that 88 days after the 28. But that's why the NFTs are not capped until day 125, because that gives everybody who max mined on day 28 the capability of getting in. They have 11 days after that final miner can be claimed to buy hybrid NFTs if they want to. And then it's going to cap the hybrid NFTs. And then at that point, it's only deflationary for the NFTs, but it's already been deflationary for the currency for 88 days. So
I like that.
I'm just mixing things up and just trying to say, okay, well, how do we do it? And that's just the top end of it. The mechanics underneath of what's really going on in order to fill up these hybrids that's been the thing I wanted to do this whole time, but I had a hard time building it, because I needed something where I didn't have to sell down the token in order to do the loop. So that's why Draco exists now. Draco exists because it's an AWX input, and stakers are paid out in AwesomeX as well. So when this does, and the problem, so here's the other thing. So a lot of these staking loops, they're pretty common now because DragonX started it. But sometimes people in the comments, they're saying, you know, they wish their staking rewards wouldn't get diluted by these protocols coming in and staking and being a staking whale. Well, the way that we offset that is because it's a mining and staking loop in Drogon. So half of it goes to staking, the other half goes to mining perpetually. So not only, and the mining feeds the staking payouts. So it's not just extracting from staking payouts and recycling. It's doing that, and it's adding to the payouts. So it's doing both. So really, if people get diluted in the staking payout, they're also getting more payouts, even though they're getting diluted. So the idea is that it's not going to dilute people, but it'll still be able to generate an infinite loop.
Wow. I like it, man. I can't wait to see the white paper. And you know, like, I think with something like that, like, I don't have a diagram yet on this white paper. That's something we're going to add soon. that definitely needs a diagram just to show where it's all going. But it sounds great, man. Like you know, you really wanted to
Let's talk. I'll build you a diagram for Flare.
Yeah, seriously. So it's really cool to hear kind of, you know, people are trying to solve the problems of previous projects, and they're not problems. I guess you could call it whatever you want,
Right?
but just imperfections that, hey, maybe I can fix this, maybe I can fix that. The best inventions in the world are solutions to old problems. Every single time, it's been a 2% advancement on one singular product, and it changed everything. So I think it's only a matter of time for what, you know, we're building and what we're doing to really just how we saw with Volta initially, right? That spark of this is what's possible through daily auctions, right? And this is what's possible through thick liquidity. And, you know, this is kind of stuff we're seeing that we're going to constantly be building and pushing forward and really trying to advance. And, you know, that's where I did with Flare. I try to take a bit of everything and really, you know, try to build something that's as aggressive, but as slow pace and as fair as I could possibly build. And I really think with Flare, I think I did it. And
I think you did too. I'm like really, like I'm so inspired by what you built. You really just, and the future of Flare is just as bright as the beginning because of the LP web that you're basically phase 2. Like phase 2 is now LP web, which I think you're just, and you can build on it later. You know, if you wanted to. You know, it's really up to, you know, having Flare as an input token for something would be sweet. But you know, you don't need a pillar.
Yep.
Because you are a pillar now. It's like you don't even need a Volt pillar because you're doing what a Volt pillar would do.
Yep.
The Volt pillar would be cool if it was there though, because then it would take Flare as input.
Yep. Yeah, and I 100% right wanted to build Flare to be a standalone forever project. If nothing ever was built on it, it could stand the test of time. But that being said, anything else built on it or using it or anything interacting with it is very solid, and it's only going to help. So I got some things in the works, obviously, just how the dude is, just, you know, I want to get this out. I want to get that done. And then we could talk about the new thing. But overall, this has been my main focus. I have thoughts of what to do, but I'm not truly thinking about it as much as I am really dialing in the Flare stuff, the website, all this kind of stuff. And, you know, we're closer to releasing it than starting it. And I like that. And it's going to be a hell of a ride. I'm hoping to change some of the status quo. I'm hoping to bring a ton of Ethereum to the ecosystem. And, you know, I really wanted to brand this as to the TitanX people, hey, I'm burning a crap load of TitanX and I have a different way of doing it. But also to the masses, hey, bring your Ethereum in it. This project, this highly deflationary project is constantly deflating and it's constantly being bought off the market. This is a great place to put your Ethereum. So definitely have the ability to kind of target it to both. And I, you know, in all honesty, I'd hope only Ethereum came in to the ecosystem. I would much rather you coming in with Ethereum to the ecosystem to Flare, because it's only going to help that much more to everybody. So yeah, man, this is all I've been thinking about. My girl is pumped for me. My family is. Everybody's pumped because they've known I've been doing this stuff for years now. 2016, right? You know, fresh out of college, I've been in crypto. So it's been awesome. And it's been a hell of a ride. And I'm just, you know, so pumped to just be able to put my own footprint into the TitanX ecosystem. Just how Awesome X did and Drogon and Draco. It's going to be really cool to see, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Hey guys, so we have 109 people on the stream right now. You guys are getting the real alpha of what's going on with Flare. You guys even got some cool Awesome X alpha in the universe. But we have a hard out here coming up right away, actually. So I would take some questions, but hopefully you guys got a lot of benefit out of this episode. Is there anything that you would like to say to lead people out?
Yeah, TitanXHub.com, go all the way down. I think it's space 19. Flair's there, the website's there, the white paper's there, and the Telegram is on there. I'm debating whether I should start my own Twitter or not. I almost rather not do it, in my opinion. I'd rather just kind of be myself and just do it that way. Odds are we probably will make a Twitter, but we'll see. But overall, we are sooner to release rather than not. Hopefully, God willing, we get it late December, early January. I think that's perfect timing. And overall, it's something that I really wanted to build something for the user and to know like, hey, this is going to be a long-term project. Everything is going to be very transparent. I'm really just pumped about this. And you know, Dave, obviously it's been a pleasure having me on, and you know, we'll do some more streams in the future when I don't have such a hard out tonight.
No, hey, all good, dude. But thank you so much for joining me today. And I can't wait to hear more. Can't wait to participate day one in Flare. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And till next time, my name is Dave. Crypto Awesome out.